Hi everyone, thanks for being here. I'm Mandy. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my for sale by owner scripts. Now this is the first video in a two-part series. The next video is going to be my expired listing scripts. Hopefully you will find value in today's video and subscribe to the channel. I want to start by going over a few call handling tips that I think will help you. To begin with, when you're calling your leads, you never want to commingle your lead sources. Your for sale by owner leads, your expired listing leads, and then your general farming leads. The reason you don't want to commingle them is because you're going to approach them differently. They are all in different seasons of selling. So your dialogue, your conversations are going to be different. There might be a little bit of overlap, but definitely you'll be approaching them differently. So keep them separate in your dialogue. Next, I always want you to have your scripts ready. When you're first starting out, you definitely want to have them in front of you. You'll feel more prepared and they will increase your confidence. You can either upload them into your dialer, or you can print them out and put them in a little laminated sleeve so you don't spill anything on them, and then just have them in front of you on your desk. And lastly, I want you to take notes when speaking with your sellers. The information you learn on these calls is very important. Knowledge is power. You're collecting data. The more data you know, the better position you'll be in to help your sellers. Let's talk about the for sale by owner or FSBO seller who says, you know what? Yeah, nice to talk to you here, but I don't want to pay you any commission. I don't care if you bring me the best buyer in the world. I'm paying 0% commission, or maybe 1% or 2%. How are you going to handle this seller? Well, I want you to give them this example. I want you to explain to them that all things being equal between your house and then let's just say house B, the bedrooms are the same, bathrooms, location, condition, price point, and all that. And the buyer's agent comes across your house offering no commission and your competition offering 3% commission. Which home do you think the buyer's agent is going to bring their client to? Ideally, they should bring them to both, right? Because it's our fiduciary responsibility as an agent to put our clients' needs first and not our needs. But in the real world, not all agents are going to do that. As real estate agents, we only get paid when we transact, when we have a closing. And if we see this great house that might fit our client's needs and it's not offering any commission to us, there's a chance that that buyer's agent might not bring their client to that home. So by not offering commission, you're actually reducing exposure to potential buyers. All agents should behave properly and bring their clients to the home regardless of whether or not they're going to get commission, because we've signed on to do that. That's our duty. But again, not everyone's going to do that. So just keep that in mind, Mr. For Sale by Owner. Offering an incentive to the buyer's agent is going to bring more traffic to your home. Let's say the seller is willing to pay buy-side commission in the amount of 2.5% to 3%. Well, that's a really good thing because the seller is recognizing that the buyer's agent brings value to the equation. So I want you to thank the seller in this scenario. Definitely thank them. And I also want you to encourage them. There's nothing wrong with wanting to take a shot to sell on your own to avoid paying commission. We all want to save money. Let's be realistic, right? So I want you to respect their desire to sell on their own and truly wish them all the best. But I don't want you to walk away from the call right there. Instead, I want you to request a property preview. It would go something like this. Mr. and Ms. Seller, I meet people all the time and I might come across a buyer for you very soon that is looking for your type of home. Never lie to them if you don't have a buyer in that moment. Always be honest. And then ask the seller, may I stop by to see the home? It'll just maybe take 10 or 15 minutes. And while you're there, you're going to preview the home, and you're also looking for ways to prove your value, to kind of see how you might convince the seller that it's worth paying that extra 2.5% to 3% commission, 5 to 6% total to have you list the home. Get really specific with them. Leave them some material that they can review after you leave. Offer to be their backup plan in the event they're not able to sell the home on their own. And if you don't get the preview, that's okay. I want you to ask the seller, okay, I understand you have no interest in working with a listing agent right now, but If 2 or 3 weeks passes and you don't generate a lot of traffic and interest in the home, is there any chance that you might consider an agent at that time? Feel them out for their motivation for selling and what kind of timeline they're looking at. You'll get that information, and then I want you to stay in touch with them via email or text. Send them something about you as an individual agent, or if you're the ISA, about your team. Let them know who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. Always stay with them, always continue to nurture them. Another thing you want to bring to the FSBO's attention is, how are you going to have time to manage the process of selling a home on your own? You're busy with family, kids, school, work, errands, travel, vacations. You're busy during the evening and on weekends. Where are you going to find the time to do this? Maybe they've just considered saving commission, but they really don't know all the work that goes into selling a home. So bring up this point to them. Also, let them know that in addition to the physical showings, they're also going to have to be on top of communication. They're going to get all kinds of inquiries, phone calls, texts, emails. Are they going to have the time to field all those inquiries about their property? And let them know that selling their home is your business, that you are focused on 7 days a week. As we all know, the real estate business is not 9 to 5. It's pretty much 7 days a week whenever you're awake. You're checking your phone to see if you can help your clients. So let them know that if they did decide to hire you, you would be available 7 days a week at their disposal. Another thing you want to bring up to the FSBO seller is, are you going to feel comfortable allowing anybody to come into your home? There'll be buyer's agents that want to come by. That's one thing. But what if you have direct buyers that want to see your home that are not represented by an agent? If a buyer's agent's working with them, they have to feel reasonably comfortable about doing so. But what if there is no buyer's agent involved? How are you going to screen them? How are you going to see if they're pre-approved and actually have the funds to follow through with the purchase? That's very important. And also, when you're an agent, you kind of know the buyer's agents around you, the agents in your community, and you can network into them. But when you're selling on your own, you don't know who the players are in the community, so you don't have that advantage. So definitely bring that up to the seller. Another point that's very, very important is exposure for the property. More than likely, the for sale by owner will have their home listed on a website like Zillow, maybe Trulia, and that's it. You can let them know that you're going to take it a lot further than that. Your brokerage will put the home on hundreds of websites, whatever the number is. So you're really going to get maximum exposure. You will also leverage the power of social media. You'll do social media campaigns, posting. You might buy social media ads. You're going to do target marketing, where you really focus in on the type of buyer that you think will be looking for this home. You might do mass marketing with all kinds of ads. And one thing that you really, really want to reinforce to the seller is this: maximum exposure leads to solid traffic. That solid traffic could result in multiple offers, and then multiple offers will get you that desired offer, that offer that you, Mr. or Ms. Seller, are looking for. This is all about exposure. You want as many people to look at your home, and putting it on one website is not going to really get you maximum exposure. So reinforce that to them. Another thing you want to bring up to them is, there's a lot that goes into listing a home for sale and getting to the closing table. There's a whole network of professionals that usually have their hands involved with the transaction. If the property isn't looking like it's for sale, but maybe it's looking like it's lived in, do you know people, landscapers, painters, contractors, stagers, photographers, so that it goes out on the market strong and it looks really, really nice? Do you have that team of people behind you? And also, once you're on the market, do you have people that you can consult with if issues come up? If the buyer has questions or any kinds of issues come up. With you being an agent, you have that network of people right at your disposal to make things seamless. That's the value that you offer, and try to convey that to the seller. Days on market is an important variable, and the seller might not even know what this means or what it represents. So I want you to educate the seller about this. Now, if the seller comes out on the market and they're not presented properly or they're not priced properly, that can cause their home to sit on the market longer than their competitors. So I want you to phrase it that way. Mr. and Ms. Seller, I see that you're on the market. Your photos aren't professional. You don't have a floor plan. I'm not so sure about your pricing. I just want you to be aware that if you don't come out strong and your home sits on the market, that's going to have a negative effect on you selling the home overall. And explain to them about the concept of aged inventory. The longer the listing becomes stale, people start thinking, what's wrong with the home? This is a hot market. Why hasn't it sold yet? There might be nothing wrong with the home at all, but people are thinking that this is what aged inventory does. It kind of encourages negative thoughts. It might encourage lower offers because there's no demand for the property and the buyer suspects that there's something wrong. So just let them know that if they're going to sell on their own, make sure that they come out strong. Make sure that they're priced properly. Make sure that they have professional photos and the property is presented well. If they're not sure about the pricing, offer to go over the comparables with them. Show your value and show them how much you know about selling a home. They might not be interested in having you, take on the listing, but at least you're conveying to them what you know. And people might argue, don't tell them everything. Well, you're not going to tell them everything. You're just going to explain to them a basic concept of what days on market is, and it might help them. And I go with the school of thought, if you don't get their business, you'll get somebody else's business. There's plenty of houses to sell out there on the market. It all depends on how the conversation goes as to what you're going to disclose and share with the seller, but this is a variable that they need to know about if they don't already know about it. A common objection that you get is, I had a bad experience with an agent in the past and I do not trust agents. And that I definitely see where that can happen because there are a lot of unsavory agents out there. It's just true. But you can give them this example. I love this. May I ask you a question, Mr. and Ms. Seller? Have you ever visited a doctor and had a bad experience? If so, did you stop seeing doctors altogether? Well, we all need doctors in our life, so probably the answer is no. So you can kind of equate that example to our profession. And you can say, yes, there are bad agents out there. An agent should always be looking out for the client's best interest, but that doesn't always happen. And I also want you to empathize with them. I want you to apologize for the bad agents that they've encountered. There's a lot of good agents out there as well. And if they've got that hesitancy, I want to encourage you to not lock them into a long listing term because they don't want to feel trapped with an agent who's not servicing their listing properly. That's the last thing they want. Rethink what the listing term is going to look like. You want them to feel flexible and comfortable and in control of their listing should anything go wrong. Now, you're going to take excellent care of them, but make sure that they have an easy out because they should be in control. We work for the seller and you have to let them know that they are number one because they are. I hope you guys got value out of this video. If so, please leave me a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing to the channel. And remember, next week's video is going to be expired listing scripts. So make sure that you stay tuned because I think that you will find next week's video just as helpful as this week's. Take care, everyone. See you next time.